Here it is, isn't it? Alright, good afternoon ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit different video from the normal fishing and shooting, all that kind of good stuff, but what it is my MAYTAG Bravo XL washer right there was giving us a low water flow. The bleach stopped working during the cycles, and also the fabric softener stopped working, so it wasn't putting any of that stuff in. It would just sit inside the little bins. So I have this thing ripped apart, and I'm going to show you how to rip it apart, clean it, and put it all back together. So hopefully this works out well in the end, and I'll put the workings on it at the end of the video. But the basics of it, pretty simple. First thing you do, remove your back panel, because you got to get to all your screws. That's where your water lines hook up. Get to your screws here, here, and here. Pop the top of it off. Bang, just like that. There's one little plug here that plugs into this jack right there and makes it to where the control panel is hooked up. There are little tabs on there that you have to pay attention to. So you just pull back on the tab, unplug nice and easy. Then this is your valve assembly. Each one of these is just a little magnetic coil. All it does is apply power to it. Hot water goes through your valve body. Here's your flow sensor right there. So you pop the plugs off, and again, it's got a little tab right here. So you pull up, pop those tabs off. I've got it all disconnected so far, so it makes it nice and easy. Make sure you label every single one of them. Bleach, bleach, water, water, the softener, all that good stuff, so that you can put it back exactly where it goes. Flow sensor comes off. There was 2 screws that held the whole valve body on there. And then when you get up underneath, so now that you got all the electrical stuff disconnected, first things first, make sure your washer is actually unplugged from the wall socket. That's my floodlights. But when you get up inside there, you can see the bottom of the valve body and your little hoses that you just unplug from all of it so that you can pop it off. Otherwise you won't be able to get your valve body out. So you unplug all your hoses, unplug all your wiring, come back up here, turn off your flashlight, bang. Then your valve body assembly will simply lift out once you remove the screw that was there and the screw that was there. All your hoses are disconnected, bang, pops right out. Each one of these little coils, it's got the little tabs here and here, just pop right off, and all it is a magnetic actuator. So electricity goes in here, creates a magnetic field. Then you've got a valve that sits inside there, and if I can get my camera angle right, we're going to actually show you how that's going to work up and down with a couple of magnets that I got laying around. Bang. So pop all these bad boys off. Odds are these aren't going to go bad. It was just all jammed up, because like we've got here in Florida with some hard water. I found a lot inside my little filters that are sitting right there. All they are is simply like a garden hose filter, little screen mesh. Pulled them out, cleaned them with some CLR and a toothbrush, and now it's working nice and smooth through there. Now for the valve body itself, let me get my camera all set up. Alright, here we go. So to show you how the valve body actually works, all they are is simple little magnetic valves, but you can see how the plunger right here is all the way down. I've just got a magnet, boom, and it moves the valve body up, bang. So all it is, valves open, water's flowing, valves closed, water's not. Simple as that. This is the cold, this is the hot. Bang on this side, works the same way. And then for each one of your outlets, you've got, move my other camera here, you've got one for the bleach, one for the water that goes into your soap for the initial run and all that good stuff, fabric softener, all that stuff. So if you look at it, they operate the exact same way. Bang. And all you have to do to get these things to work is run the magnet close enough, and it pops them up and down. So what I was having problems with was low flow when you actually hooked it up to the water. Sometimes it would be a little bit low, so between that and also the hard water inside the valves, you know, I had to get some CLR inside there and unjam it. So all I did was I would take the CLR, I would pour it inside the hot and the cold water holes, and then I would actuate the valves with a magnet. I would put one magnet down here to keep one of the valves open. That way you got basically airflow through there, and it'll allow the flow of the CLR to go through it. So you just sit there, pour it in the top, work it in just by getting it close, watching the plunger go back and forth, and gravity will pull it back in there every single time, and it works like a little pump, pumps it right through. And when it starts coming out, I use the bleach one because it was on top back here. Bang, I just used that, and that way you had CLR going all the way through it, or lime away, whichever one you want to use. Once it starts pouring out of here, you know it's all the way through it. Let that sit for about an hour. Hook up your water hoses, put one on one side, take the other magnet, actuate your valves down here, and it'll start spewing water all over the place. Had a noticeable difference in the water flow. So hopefully unclogging this whole thing is gonna help out with the flow, get my fabric softener and my bleach working again. Alright, and to show you exactly what I was talking about with the valve bodies and everything, I've hooked up the water hose to it. So it's a pretty simple process. Take one magnet, put it on the hot water for right now, and then whichever one you want. I really should have done it before to show you the difference in water flow. There's nothing to it. It's all simply magnetic. Bang. And you've got a lot better water flow, and you can check all your little valves, make sure each one of them works properly. And I've increased the water flow by, I'd say, almost twice. And then same thing with the cold water. A little bit of air in there, plenty of water flow. Same thing here. So your bleach, your fabric softener, for your soap, and then rinse water, wash water, all that good stuff. Pretty simple. 2 magnets runs the whole thing. You know, when it goes back on the washing machine, you got your coils and all that good stuff for each individual one. And it's really not that difficult. The hardest thing is just getting the lines off the bottom of this. But that takes a little bit of dexterity. And then once you turn your water off to get the water out of here, just open one of them up, and open all of them up. That gets your pressure off to where you're not going to have that, you know, backflow of water come flying out of here. Yeah. Always got to have your curious little helpers back here trying to steal all your tools, steal your magnets, get wrapped up in all your stuff. Never fails. Alright, for reinstallation of the valve body, watch out, taters. Alright, for reinstallation of the valve body, it's very, very simple process. All we're going to do is just stick a couple of the screws back in there. One goes on this end, right there. One goes right here. Then we're going to slap all of our coils back on. And once we get done with all the coils, then we'll put the hoses back on. And hopefully it works. That's the key to the whole thing. Hopefully. I know the valve body works because I tested it out with the magnets. But as long as all my little coils are good, then everything should work fine. If the coils are not good, I got the wrong screw in there. Yeah, that's the right one. But if your coils are not good, then just look it up on Amazon. That's all I'm going to do. Google search it on the internet, see if anybody's selling it, because a lot of times when it comes to electronics, TVs, computers, whatever it is, if you can determine what the bad part is, then you can just search it up on Google and somebody be selling that little part. And a perfect example of that is I had a $4,000 TV that got broken in a move when I was PCSing from one duty station to the next, and I took it to work at my last duty station, told the guys, hey, if you can fix it, you can have it. And $40 later, they had the part they needed, and they fixed a $4,000 TV for 40 bucks, when the guy that came out to fix it for us said it was going to be $1,400. So yeah, it just goes to show. $40 part, man. One of my guys at work got a nice TV, 3D, LED, all that good stuff. Alright, so we're just snapping all this stuff back together. Goes back together really simple. Bleach. This was my bleach line. Alright. And if you lay out your wiring harness, you kind of be able to tell which way they face, you know, just by the way the wires are laying flow sensor. This is going to be water. Bam. So that one's facing that away. Just like that. Softener coil. Wires are hooked up. Oop, I'm going to put that one on backwards because I'm an idiot. Or upside down, rather. Just goes to show. Pay attention. Screw up the simplest thing, man. You kill your washing machine. And that one's going to go on there. Like that. It slides right into place. And some of you might just want to pay the repairman, but you know, a couple hours worth of work is definitely better than shelling out a couple $100. And so everything's back together nice and tight. Flow sensor's done. Valve body's reinstalled. And that's all there is to it. So for the to reinstall the top part of it, I'll let the camera out of the way. Want to make sure you put your electrical cord back in its proper place, which was right there. Bang, just like that. All your wiring's running. Everything's in its proper spots. Tucked away. That way nothing's going to pinch or bind. You're not going to put any screws through your wires. That plug right there sits down nice and neat right here. Plug it back in. Now our washing machine's all back together for the most part. We'll throw the top back on it, put the back on there, hook it up, see what happens. Alright, for the next part, since the fabric softener and all that good stuff wasn't working, I took out the fabric softener tub because it was pretty nasty inside there, just from, you know, fabric softener is pretty thick. But it's easy. All you do is you pop the one ring off from the top. And with the top loading washing machines, it's a free floating drum. So it makes it to where you can move things around. You pop that bad boy out like that, just by pushing on the tabs. Then you work it around the drum, and it slides right out. Just like that. And then the hose that is hooked up to the valve body, you just pull it right out. And all you have to do is press on these tabs to do it, and the whole thing comes apart, slides right out nice and easy. Alright, well, after a complete systems check and everything, ran it through the clean cycle, a couple other cycles, make sure all the CLR, calcium lime remover, everything was out of the valve systems. It worked out perfect. Had one little drip where I didn't get one of the clamps on quite right, but popped the back of it off, looked at it, you could see exactly where it was dripping from. But I hope this video has helped, you know, save somebody a couple $100 or any kind of money, you know, by fixing your own washing machine. So, until next time, stay tuned.